everyone. Welcome back to Heartbeat Narratives. My name is Molly and I'm your host. And today we have my friend Daniel Masifilo on the podcast. Mahalo, Daniel, for coming.
Mahalo to you too, Molly. Thanks for having me here and thanks for the opportunity to be on your podcast. Looking forward to this.
Yeah, when I was thinking about people that I would love to interview, you came to mind immediately because I think of you as someone who really follows your dreams, and you've been on this journey of self-discovery, and I would consider you to be someone who's like a master of the mindset.
Wow, thank you.
And I know that we didn't necessarily grow up together, but we knew
Yeah.
each other from when we were like toddlers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I remember when I would visit your mom out in Ewa Beach and I saw your room, you had quotes all over the walls, just kind of like tuning into that goal setting mindset. I just wanted to pick your brain on like all of those things that you've been aiming towards, following your heart. And yeah, we'll get into that in the bulk of the conversation. But
Yeah, yeah. We can't even go into that now. I mean, that is right. You've seen my wall, my room, and all those notes on the wall of my dreams, aspirations, and now it's probably more of a condensed version, more organized on one wall or one dry erase board. But yeah, that I think I picked that up from junior college. One of my coaches, Coach Rod, he talked about a former player of his, track star, who ended up going on to USC track star, and he said he would put all the goals on the wall, write it down, write it down. So that stuck with me. So I'd write it down, put it on my wall, post-it notes. You know, there'd be 1,000 different, nah, not 1,000, but choke, choke post-it notes on the wall, just to remind yourself. You know, remind yourself what you plan, because life can be super distractive with all these influences coming from all different angles. So it helps, you know. At first it took forever for those things to happen, and then now I'm like, oh, they happen if you just stay true and, you know, pursue that over time.
it's kind of amazing to see how when you put those things in motion, how they come to fruition, maybe not right away,
Yeah.
but over years and honing in like that mindset and those goals. So to set the context, I would love to hear where you're from originally and then where you're calling in from today.
Yeah, where I'm from originally, well, my ancestors come from the kingdom of Tonga, and they come from Norway and Switzerland. I'm a first generation Tongan American, Norwegian, Swiss, Hawaii born boy. But I grew up in Ewa Beach on the island of Oʻahu, Puʻuloa. That's where I was raised. That's where I became Masi. And that's what set me out on a journey. And now I'm on the big island, countryside, God's country, a little bit past Paho and known as Oʻahu. And yeah, continuing the journey of making home in many places.
I love being able to hear all the sounds from where you are in Opihikau. I can
Yeah.
hear some, are those little cookie frogs in the back?
I think they chirping. They're a little overtime today. Normally it's nighttime cookies, but I guess the rain got them chirping in the day.
So the big question is for you, what brings you joy? What makes your heart beat? And then we can unpack all of that as we go.
Yeah, love that question. It's a good thing to remind yourself to ask yourself that every day. So thank you for asking me that beautiful question. What makes your heart beat? Oxygen, of course, not now. But really what makes my heart beat, I would say, is just continuing the voyage, like discovering yourself. I think that's the most important thing as far as being a human, is knowing yourself. We come into this life maybe knowing ourselves subconsciously, and then we grow up with all the influences from our parents to school to social systems to environments. And along that way, I think we become sometimes not who we are born to be. So yeah, I've been very passionate about that for myself in discovering who I am as a human here on earth, and just constantly going back and also looking forward and being present, bringing it all together mentally, physically, spiritually, into being the best Daniel Etika Masifilo I can be. And I'm constantly evolving too. You know, I think that's one thing I've learned is we'll kind of dive into that. Football was my identity. That was my life vessel, my life passion. It was me. And then now that that chapter is closed, now I realize, oh, smokes, there's so much more life and there's so much more to define who you are. It's a game, beautiful game that, I mean, it was a vessel that took me all around the world, literally, and put food on the plate and opened doors that my ancestors never got to open, met friends from all over the world, and taught me life lessons that allow me to tap into who I am. Just constantly growing, evolving, and grounding yourself into who you are. That's what lights me up. That's what brings me joy. It's like a kid. You do something for the first time, and you know you did something you never did before, and you get excited, right? It's like, oh, I just climbed the tree. Oh, I just did this. And it's just constantly having that type of mindset or that energy. It's like, your job, that's cool. You know, I've had so many jobs, so many different things. So like all those transitions that I didn't want to happen, but it happened for a reason, and it helped me evolve and helped me grow and also heal, you know, like healing a lot of, like I said, we start off as children, cakey, and we grow up and we're influenced, and there's some traumas, you know, and everyone doesn't have a perfect childhood. My childhood, I think, was perfect and not perfect too. So there's some things that I've looked back like, oh, that doesn't serve me. That doesn't serve me to be the best me, so I can be the best to all those around me, who you influence, you know, who you socialize with. So it's just constantly looking at that, thinking about that, and yeah, beating with that, you know, like you said, make your heart beat.
I think you're really touching on something that feels so relevant to my life right now too, is like the unlearning
Yeah,
so that we
yeah,
can become our true selves.
yes, yeah. I think that's super, super, super important. And like one thing I'm noticing, you know, you see social media, you see other people and other everyone does what they do, but there can be a lot of overcompensating too, right? Especially when there's trauma, so you're gonna overcorrect. And I think that happens pretty heavily in the Polynesian community, is a lot of overcorrection. And I think realizing there's a harmony between unlearning things, because there's a lot of narratives and stuff that kind of can emotionally hijack you and take you places, but realizing, finding that balance, finding that harmony. And I think a lot of it comes to, I mean, being here, God's country, I'm blessed to be amongst nature and have time to be present and be with your thoughts. It helped me a lot being here on Hawaii Island so that I could be present and realize, like, you know what, this is all balanced here with Kilauea flowing, she flowing, you know, it's still balanced. A lot of people panic with chaos when it's, oh, volcano. I'm like, no, this is life. It's what happens here. So I'd say the island itself taught me that. And, you know, going back to the part of unlearning things, I think it's wise to not overcorrect, you know, but also, you know, heal, unlearn these things. It's just, what are you swapping it out with, right? It's like your computer took out this hard drive, what you putting in, that might have a virus too, you know. But it's beautiful that you've been feeling that as well, you know, like unlearning things, because there's a lot of stuff I think we've been taught, our parents been taught, maybe their parents been taught, that now we're like, oh, we got all this information, that don't seem right, what's going on, you know. So I question everything, but then I also receive it too, so that, you know, I'm not like just this paranoid, skeptical guy living in the bush. Like, no, I want to live. I like meet people. I like relate, you know.
You haven't fully isolated into the forests of
No, no.
Pahoa.
Yeah, no, I'm not a mushroom under a rock. I'm what I say, I'm I don't know, an Eva bird flying around everywhere. Nah.
I mean, what you've created with your current life, you've built a homestead.
Yeah,
And it's
say that.
amazing to see how far you've come in the last, what, 5 years since you started
Yeah,
building?
4 years and a half, about to be going on 5 at the end of this year. So yeah, 4.5 years. It's been a wild journey, but yeah, very fortunate, very blessed, very grateful to be here after all the grinding and blood, sweat, tears, you know, to make it happen, and just kind of enjoy it now. That's what this whole year's been about, is that, like, for me, I set the tone. Like, I want to live in tune with nature because we are here with nature. So it's easier. When I was back at Ewa Beach, maybe not so much. You got to kind of seek it and get out your way. Or even in Colorado, you go on hikes. I think that's one thing about going on hikes. It's like your soul, your spirit wanting to be around that because it heals. Here, just at home, it's like a healing space too. Healing and trauma, because building a house ain't easy, so you get trauma with building too.
It's like you
Yeah,
worked through everything by building something new.
yeah, true. Learned a lot building this place, but it's been great. Yeah.
Hmm. I would love to hear about your connection with your Tongan side of the family and how you've explored that part of your own identity.
Yeah, thanks for asking. It actually kind of starting it off, I would say it wasn't super pleasant at first. I mean, it was great, but then comes with the traumas too, right? So being half Palangi, half Caucasian, my dad being full Tongan, mom being Caucasian. In the Tongan community, I'm a Palangi boy, so half white. And then same thing like growing up in Hawaii, Holly boy, or its form of its own, but it's not a welcome feeling you experience. So that causes a little bit of misidentifying, because you feel like you maybe don't want to be that. And then it's just because that's what the feeling of the social side creates. So that was always a hard part at first growing up, is feeling that, but it was always love too. That's just like with the kids in the church, or more so in the church, you get other kids and they say that I don't understand anything else they're saying. I barely speak Tongan. I know the basics. I think that was a big part as well, as far as the struggles, not knowing your language, right? My dad didn't teach us the language intentionally. Reason being, he migrated from Tonga along with bringing all his brothers and sisters to America for opportunity. But one of his barriers he struggled with here in Hawaii is his language. He had a heavy accent. You've heard him speak, he's a Tongan man. And even better words, he's the talking chief of Kolonga in Tonga. So, that language is everything. That's his title. That's what he does. So it carried over, operating and navigating in America. It created some barriers for him. So I think intentionally he didn't want us to learn that. He wanted us to learn English. And I'm still learning English. You can ask my fiance Megan. She's always correcting me. Pigeon was my first language. I grew up at a beach. So it's like, that was the first language. And okay, now I gotta learn English. But going back, to growing up Tongan and then finding that identity, I was around it. I was blessed. Me and my brother, we went to Tonga maybe like 4 times when we were young. That was one thing my dad made effort to bring us there, to show us where he came from and show us his roots and to know where we come from. Because that's another thing, with self-identity, is you got to know where you come from so you can know where you're going. So we went back, got to experience things with my cousins who are still living there, and loved it. I just felt like me. I remember as a kid, it was just this overwhelming feeling like this is who I am. And bringing that experience back to the States, growing up in Ewa, that was something I carried, but I still didn't know a lot of. It was just more of the feeling internally. Through the years, there's not a lot of Tongans in Ewa, so it wasn't, I mean, over time now, being Polynesian is cool now, 2025, it's like, we're it, everyone wants a little piece of it, movies, all that, but growing up is like, my middle name, Etika, my dad's name, I was kind of ashamed to say it, so there's this childhood experience where you're like a little shame of certain things and you're not able to fully express it because kids are kids, they're gonna joke. But I've evolved over that. Now I say my full name, Daniel Etika Masifilo, but even my Samoan friend, my best friend Leo, he wouldn't say his middle name, Viliami. Sorry, Leo, but I put it out there. But it's true, it's like it's not normal for the environment you grow up hearing those names. I would love to have the name Taniela, that's Daniel in Tongan, but growing up, that would probably be made fun of. Oh, that's a girl's name, Now it's cool. So it's just times change when it's unknown. So that's a little bit of the struggle side of identifying with the Tongan side growing up. But overall, it was something always a part of me because we went to church, Church, I don't go much church anymore. This is church around me, but religion and spirituality more is super important in the Tongan culture. And that's been ingrained in me. I'm familiar, it is a Christian country now, but we've always been spiritual. So there goes kind of looping back to the overcompensating people. There's a lot of people who don't even identify with the Christian church because of all the traumas, but it's like don't just ditch spirituality on its own. I mean, as a Tongan, most Tongans are pretty spiritual. I think it's at our core. So it's just tapping into that, and then also now like looking back to how things were in Tonga as a kid, experiencing that. You see the whole hierarchy because it is a kingdom. And now it's like, oh, that's super cool. It's still standing. As you get older, as I get older, now I'm like really embracing it because it's easier to identify with that part of my ethnicity because it's first generation. There's still like a quick connection there. Mom's side, I think they're like fourth generation American. It kind of gets chopped up being in America because we identify now as American. This is just maybe me ranting, but it's important for everyone to go back, right? Further back, because being American can be cool. Everyone has their own opinion, but going back to your roots, right? That's who you are. That's where you are. That's where you come from. And I mean, I don't know the science, but there's genetic stuff in there that makes you you. So, I mean, long story short, growing up and identifying with Tongan culture has played a major role in who I am. It's my inner strength that I've mostly tapped into, I think, because it's such a close connection, one bloodline from just the source.
I think it's really awesome to hear how you've like accepted your identity over time.
Yeah.
And now it has become that pillar within yourself to draw strength into
Yeah.
like anything that you are confronted with or handling. You have worked through the things that needed to be worked through. And maybe that's still a journey that you're uncovering.
Yeah, yeah. It is definitely uncovering. It may sound like, I mean, a lot of work has been put in, a lot of consciousness has been looked in this direction, but I think it's going to be forever work, you can go as far back in your genealogy as and then there's always further back. So it's like, I am very curious. It makes my heart beat. It ignites me to know further and beyond of the names that I can't say, are those members of my ancestors that I don't know. I mean, I know they're there. I can't speak it out. It's just like, okay, somewhere in there, it's there.
That reminds me of this image where a friend and colleague of mine was talking about how we are the culmination of all of our ancestors. And as we stand right here, there are 1,000 people behind us from previous generations who are supporting us as we come into our own. And that's such a beautiful and comforting way to approach the world. We have support, even if it can't be physically seen, but it's in our genealogy
Oh, 100%.
on
Yeah.
both sides of the
Yes.
family.
Both sides. Yes. No, 100%. I've always said this, me and my best friend Kevin, we've said it, is I am my ancestors' greatest dream. We are. We're here standing still alive, keeping it going. And I feel your friends saying on that, like 1,000 of them behind me. And that's what gives me confidence in life, like this life, the next, when this ends, they're with you. And I try to tell people that too. I mean, you'll hear me ancestor this, ancestor that, but it's real because it is where we come from. It is our genealogy. It is why we're here. We're a continuation of those 1,000, 2,000, 20,000, however far back we go, years into the present 2025 form. So yeah, I love that.
Absolutely. I would think it would be very interesting for people who listen to this podcast to hear about your football journey. And I know it brought you to like Europe and
Yeah.
Colorado. Do you share a bit about that? Because I feel like you now transitioning into a different chapter of your life, you have clarity.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for that. Because it's like crazy. You close the chapter and you sometimes peek back at it. But football kind of goes back to childhood as well, as far as being Tongan. If you were a successful Tongan in America, probably played football. I had some cousins who made it to the NFL. The Kemoeatu brothers, they were kind of the trailblazers. My cousin David Vekuni, he was another trailblazer. And then my older brother Matt, he was a trailblazer with football. And that's the only thing I seen as a future vision or a dream. It was my childhood dream, literally. You grow up playing tackle football at school or in your neighborhood streets or in the park, just tackling, not knowing the basic fundamentals of the game. It's just tackle football, playing who knows what. I don't know what position I play. I just tackle. So growing up, I didn't play football or organized football until my freshman year of high school. I'd cry to my dad. I'd want to play football, but I was too small. Even though I grew up in Ewa Beach, I wasn't the smallest. I was just an average kid. I didn't hit my growth spurt yet, but he said I was too small because amongst full Tongan kids, I wasn't big, and he always thought, I could get hurt because my cousin, they're ginormous, like 400 pounds. So it wasn't something he was comfortable with, which that burned inside of me. I resented that he didn't let me play because it was a game that you could express yourself. My freshman year of high school, Campbell High School, Ewa Beach High School, I got cut. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to put my pads on. I didn't know how to put my helmet on. I was so new to the game. I followed my Filipino friend, Mark, I said, what position you going? Safety. So I tagged along and went to go play safety. And I didn't know nothing. Coaches at the time weren't really too helpful either. Hindsight's 2020 as I'm a coach now. Good coaching helps bring out the best of people. Bad coaching just pushes people to the side. So I didn't learn much. Then I ended up getting cut, which broke my heart. I cried, wasn't part of the team. So there's my friends playing the game again without me. But fortunately, I was young enough to still play Pop Warner. So I was playing Park League football in high school, which is like, oh, you're playing kid football in high school, but I just wanted to play the game, and that was my first opportunity. So played with the Ewa Saints, learned a lot there, got to get some experiences that ignited that spirit even further to play the game. And then that summer, in going into football season, I remember borrowing my neighbor's pink iPod, and Matis Yahoo was one of the songs that I ran to, or sprinted to. So King Without a Crown was one, and Time of Your Song, that one. There's old sugarcane roads in Ewa. I would put those AirPods on and I would sprint electric pole to electric pole down the sugarcane road from old Ewa to closer to the new Ewa, past Gentry. So I'd just do full sprints, and I'll do that like all summer, just running hard with will, no training, no nothing. And then I came back to summer football, and I was one of the fastest on the team. So my mind was like, okay, I don't know the game, but I can work hard and I'm gonna make something happen. So played sophomore year, got a couple touchdowns that sparked some more success in the game. And meanwhile, my older brother, Matt, he was a super recruit, 5-star recruit, being recruited from the whole entire nation, coming to Campbell High School. So that opened my eyes too, as far as possibilities and dreaming big too, to go play Division I football. I watched him go on his path to Stanford. We ended up going to an Oregon football camp because my grandparents lived in Springfield, Eugene, Oregon. They're diehard Duck fans before the Ducks became cool. Grandma Pat and Grandpa Ralph. Grandpa told us to go to that and learn some of the game from these coaches. So just constantly developing the football skill set of what's needed to be successful in the game. And then came back my junior year for Campbell, was getting recruited after opening some eyes at the Oregon camp. And I was on a different path then. I was an Ewa Beach boy. To be exact, and I still am, but I was an Ewa Beach banger too. So I grew up fighting, scrapping, and a lot of it childhood traumas. You find a way to express yourself. You want to scrap, and I just want to be seen. I think I want to be seen. I want to prove myself and get the respect that I wanted to just be me. So I got into a lot of scraps, and then I got expelled my junior year from high school. So I got kicked out of school. It was a dark time. I was feeling good because I'm like, getting all this popularity, he's a banger, but it wasn't helpful for the path of being a football player. Nowadays, you're like, you fight, go fight UFC, and you can make a career. But if you want to be a football player, like I tell some of the kids, you do football, you don't fight. You choose a path and stick with it, because that put a big wrench in my trajectory as far as continuing to my dreams of playing Division I football. So, I got kicked out of school, labeled a threat to my community. They wanted to just basically kick us out of the city. At the time, I'm like, attention, but the wrong attention, right? So, hard lessons learned. Had to fix my character, work on myself, constant work. Did some community service, cleaned up my act a little bit, and kind of had a realization that this ain't the right path for me. It could have kept going, and I'm glad it didn't, but it's literally the game of football. That's what kept me on the path. It's like, it saved my life in a way. I think I still would have been all right, but you never know. It was just a vessel. It was the path that, this is my dream, that I got to make it come true no matter what. Come back my senior year. I know this is a long high school journey, but My senior year, we got a new head football coach, Coach Amosa, Campbell legend, legend, and I would say he's a big part of my life as far as influential people and at the right time. Him and Coach White and Coach Tiki, I gotta shout them all out. The whole coaching staff he put together was very, very pivotal in that time, being a young adolescent, young high school boy, and trying to redirect my path. And not just me, even my boys, a lot of us, we all were blessed with those coaches to help us propel forward and not going and getting into trouble. So my senior year, came back, got back on the team, focused up, just grinded, training, and I had a stellar senior season. We won the Oʻahu White Football Championships. I had a great game. Was getting recruited from UNLV, Wyoming, University of Colorado, San Diego State. So all these signs of people wanting me was great. I'm like, oh, there's a path forward. I can fulfill this dream. I can be a Division I football player. This is where I learned that even though you've grown past it, you have to live with your decisions. So my senior year, I was getting recruited from the University of Colorado. They were basically offered me a scholarship to go there, but they were doing some due diligence, and I didn't have my junior year film highlight tape. So they asked, where is it? And my counselors at Campbell High School were so proud of the turnaround of my trajectory that they were raving about it to the Colorado recruiters or Colorado coach. Super stoked because, I was this and then I'm this, and just like so proud. But it made Colorado question like, wait, what? Oh, this kid's a liability, right? They don't want to invest in me with a scholarship if I have character issues, character problems. So they recommended that I go to Mount Sac, the junior college in LA. Coach Tom Kraft was the OC there, and he ran a similar offense and as a good stepping stone to get to Colorado. But yeah, my vision's all, go to Mount Sac 1 year, one and done, and get to Colorado. But you have a plan in life, and God has a whole nother plan. Ended up being there for 2 years. First time off the island, a bunch of local boys, 5 of us in one 2-bedroom apartment, and a lot of Hawaiʻi boys were there. But that's junior college football. It was a grind, just constantly putting in work to try to get to the next level. But also you're on your own, you're with your boys, so distractions, college distractions, partying, having fun, and just learning too throughout college that you got to separate the two. But it took time to get there. And this is the junior college where I learned about the writing down notes and putting it on your wall. But discipline was something that I think I was missing because I wasn't all about football. So I know it's a small, long journey, but that's junior college. Then I'll go on to Arizona State, transferred out of Mount Sac to go to Arizona State. I redshirted there 1 year. After my junior year, transferred back to basically I dropped out. I had Coach Todd Graham. You can read about him online, what he did at University of Hawaii, but he was my coach there. Good football coach, and yeah, it wasn't the fit for me, so I dropped out, came back home, got caught back in a little bit of Hawaii life. 21 now, so going out having fun and kind of getting into the wrong crowds again as far as staying out of trouble. So had a realization one bad night, and I caught myself, and thank God I did, and realized like, okay, I gotta stop drinking. It's not good for me. I'm trying to be an athlete, but it's just this constant battle of, is this path for me or is it not? And luckily for the game of football, it was still a light that I seen at the end of the tunnel. And then I walked on at my senior year, and played receiver, and then I moved to defensive back, and that kind of gave me another spark of life to play the game, to fulfill the dream of being a professional. The NFL was my dream. Being a professional football player was my childhood dream. Once I was in college at a D1, the NFL was my next sight. Especially, my brother taking the step to the NFL, and my cousins too. So it's like, I gotta be it too. It's gotta be me too. So yeah, after college ball, I didn't get a chance to play in the NFL. I got looks, which sparked some things in me to keep going. Seahawks kind of showed me some looks, and the Bengals kind of showed a little look. It was just a seed that I was planning to keep going. So I discovered there's football in Europe. Now it's a little bit bigger, but yeah, I got blessed with an opportunity to go play football professionally in Denmark. So I was their paid import player, and I would say ultimately the journey of getting to Denmark was a very great milestone or a great hurdle for me. One thing too, I think what really gave me the confidence in life is, I'm going through these paths of not so great choices and still trying to pursue a dream. But before I left to Denmark, my dad told me he was proud of me. And that shattered an unbelievable like force field around me. Is just hearing that, I'm proud of you, because I wasn't making him proud, as far as the bad choices. So it's like hearing that was like, oh, and then fulfilling a childhood dream too. So it was just like boom, boom, spirit ignited. I'm like, oh, I'm free. Basically, I was free. I freed myself. And while in Denmark, it was a great self experience because I'm going to a place where I'm the only American, of course, only Polynesian out there, and I'm amongst Danes and a whole nother culture that's not mine. So culture shock in a way, but more so I took the time there to just recreate myself, being a professional football player with character. So I dedicated those whole 8 months to just strictly being a professional football player. The Danes, they love to drink. They're like, drink, drink. And I'm like, no, I don't drink. What? You don't drink? And I'm just like tunnel vision focused. Like, I don't drink because I know that didn't serve me. It didn't help me. So I started, drinking kava. My brother would send me some kava there, and I'm like getting back to the roots, literally. And that was just kind of a self-discovery period in my life where I'm not allowing anything to influence me, taking the time to do some inner work on discovering why I want to be this professional football player, what this game does for me, and also like breaking free of anything that doesn't serve me. So that kind of was like the start of it all, because I had my flat to myself, my team I was with, but like I spent a lot of time alone, and I was just training, and like kind of conditioning my mind to seek greatness, with football. You have to be 100% disciplined, and it's be great, don't be good, be great. So I was pursuing greatness all in all to try to make it to the NFL and play there. So after that 8 months there, I came back home, was wanting to get to the NFL, as using that as a stepping stone. Got an opportunity for Canadian Football League, went to mini camp with them, and they didn't end up bringing me up to Canada, but they recommended to go to arena football, which took me to Fort Collins, Colorado. Yeah. So just like that, one door closed, signed with them, played the ending of the season. I think it was 4 games, and balled out. I did great. I was so hungry to just perform, and had this big chip on my shoulder because I just got cut. So balled out, and every year of not being in the NFL is to try to get there. So I'm putting together my highlights, sending it out. I got connected with some NFL scouts, and I sent it, and I got great feedback. The Colts, the Seahawks, the Chiefs, the Packers, these are like names, and I'm communicating with them. They're giving me great feedback. I'm just trying to find a way in, and didn't trigger. Flirting with me that I could get there, but didn't get there. Nothing came from that. Next year, another year with the Colorado Crush, played with them again. And the last season I ever played football was 2018. I signed with the Nebraska Danger. So another year of arena football. As much as I was trying to elevate out of it, it was just the only platform I had to play the game and showcase what I had. So I played the game that year, and I ended up getting hurt. 8 games in, I was starting, and then they cleaned house. They released me and a couple of my other teammates, and that was pretty bitter, ending it that way, especially on an injury and especially on kind of bad terms. From their side, I handled everything professionally. It just was a sour thing happening in the organization. But then this is where another trajectory started happening in my life, where I met Megan, of course, in Fort Collins, my fiance. And from there, she had an opportunity for us to go to Bear Butte, the Lakota Nation, a Native American tribe in South Dakota. It was a opportunity to we were pretty much restoring the ʻāina there at Bear Butte, the Lakota sacred mountain. Planted a lot of pine trees, so just getting into the ʻāina, or their ʻāina, that was super healing for me. And then we did a sweat lodge with them, and one of the boys, Lakota Nation boys, and they kind of took me in like their own because Polynesian. So we shared a lot of stories, and it was a lot of ancestral wisdom that they were sharing with me as far as their relation to Hawaiʻi, to Polynesian. That just opened my mind, like, whoa, wait, what? You guys knew our people knew yours. That's not what we were taught. And kind of sparked a spiritual journey in a way, but also a bigger journey, right? Because the game kind of seemed like it's coming to an end. And that kind of helped open my eyes to something after the game. But I didn't hang it up. I didn't give up. I was like, oh, I'm still gonna play this game. It's my childhood dream. So 2 years after that, training, still trying to get to the league, and I'm in the greatest shape of my life. A lot of people, they end up finishing up the game at 24. I'm like, oh, I'm in my prime. I can go all the way to now. So I tried out for the CFL. This is in 2020, and this is like, oh yeah, this is gonna be my breakthrough. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna catapult to get to Canada, to the NFL. And I went down to one of their training camps, tryouts, and this is Houston, the football capital of the world, and I balled out. I'm like top one, top two DBs there. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be on. They're gonna sign me. I'm in the best shape of my life. And COVID happens. Boom.
Oh no.
Shuts everything down. The Canadian Football League was done. They didn't even play that season. So that was like, all right, okay, we need to do something. So Megan and I decided to move back to Hawaii. I know we maybe can get into that after, but came back home, still was feeling lost because I identified myself with this game so much. It was my life, and it didn't close the way I wanted to close. So I started coaching, sharing. I always said that when I come back to Hawaii, I'm gonna share what I learned from the mainland, overseas, in my journey to give back to the youth. And I did that, and I still do that. But as I was doing that, the XFL, the Rock, Dwayne Johnson League, was starting up, and I'm like, oh, another opportunity. It's just these shiny objects. I'm just like, oh, there's a chance. They were coming to Hawaii to do like a showcase, like a tryout, and they invited me. So I'm like, oh, perfect. This is it. They're coming to Hawaii. What full circle is this? So I'm training, do the showcase, did well. I think it was more of a publicity stunt for them because I don't think anyone made it out of there, but it was more of like the Rock storytelling journey. But for me, it was a full circle moment. That's where I think I was closing the chapter because, I'm running my 40. I've been training, doing all these combine drills, trying to get to the league. Look up to the mountains, there's the Mauna, and I'm just inhaling it. I'm finishing my 40. There's my classmate's son, one of my friend's son, at the end of the 40, Coach Masi, and I'm just like, boom, all these omens, all these signs. I'm like, oh, this is fulfilling. This is fulfillment, not fulfilling. This is fulfillment. So if they called, I would have been ready, but I kind of was like, they're not going to call. This is where things turn. This is the end of it. That was the end of playing, that chapter. All of my life up to this age at 30, well, I'm 33 now, but I say I was done at 32. And now that chapter's closed, but I'm still involved with it. I still do coaching when I can. I was coaching football. I'm still doing like personal trainings when I can, because it's all this knowledge, it's like, oh, I don't want to just close it and not do anything with this. There's all these youth that can use this skill knowledge and also life knowledge from the game too. So that's been another thing that, looping back to your podcast, makes my heart beat, helping out the keiki, helping out the youth, see this game as a vessel to create opportunities for them. And the Hawaii kids see it, just need guidance and stuff too. So yeah, that's the journey of the game.
Thank you so much for sharing the steps that you took because I didn't realize all of that from, watching from a distance.
Yeah.
Like I would see you on campus at UH because we were at the University of Hawaii
Yeah,
around
yeah.
the same time. And then you went on so many of these travels, both personally and professionally. But the word that comes to mind for me is Ahonui,
Mm.
that patience with perseverance. But the cool thing
Ahonui.
is
I
it
love that.
Ahonui, it's such a good word. And to see where it has led you now to that like full circle moment where you are at the level of being able to like share what you've done as a coach. And it's like you learned it in some ways kind of the hard way.
Yeah,
But now
100%.
you're here. Now you're here.
Yeah, 100% it was the hard way. This isn't the blueprint to follow, but if you go this direction, I've got a lot of knowledge on it. So I share that, there's always the perfect path. I had the up, down, side to side, up and up and down over and over, but it's the journey. That's what I've learned, and that's what I'm most grateful for is the journey of the game, but also now the journey of life. And yeah, it's Ahonui. I love that.
Yeah, I wrote it down as we
Me
were
too. I just wrote it
talking.
down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna stick with that.
So what's on the horizon for you? I know you wear many hats, and you've done stunt work, you're an actor, you've worked on solar, you're coaching. What's next?
Yeah, good question. The story is written, but it's unwritten. What's next right now? We've pretty much this house has been the main thing we were working on, and it's been pretty much completed. So now looking to other horizons. We want to travel, want to see the world. Haven't traveled really much as far as out of country since playing football. So that's one thing. As far as opportunity wise, I am another thing that makes my heart beat now is like the whole acting side, being more so being creative, storytelling, all in all. That's what I'm igniting a passion in. And I think I've always been a storyteller because I was always selling my story to play football, right? It's like I've been through this, I did this, did that. So now it's transitioning from just one game to the life game and get into that. Stunts has been great. Kind of came from playing football. It was a stunt. I got that opportunity to do that with NCIS from a football scene, and that opened my eyes to this whole creative world. So trying to tap into that more, getting with like-minded people. I want to like kind of get into like some short films, maybe short stories, and just tell our story. Because like right now, explaining my story, no one's gonna tell it for you but you. So I want to get into that, and we're getting married next year. That's another thing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Me and Megan, we live like we married, built a house and all that. So it's not, getting married is a big thing, but it's like, okay, now we got to make it official. So that's kind of on the horizons. And yeah, still hustling, doing roofing and sales, inspections, looking to try to create something like our own business. Don't know what it is, but just creating. That's been the main focus. Like, what can we create?
I love that. I was recently speaking with Uncle Herb Lee here on
Mm.
Oʻahu. He runs an organization based at Waikalua Fish Pond, and he's
Oh,
always talking about reclaiming or adopting a producer mindset.
mm,
So, whatever it is inside you that you are called to do, be like the producer of it, whether it is working on ʻāina, podcasting, coaching, produce and create and be creative. And I feel like that's what you're speaking to.
yeah. Shout out to Uncle Herb Lee. Yeah, be a
Yeah.
producer. Yeah. Produce your life, produce what you want. I feel that 100%.
Mahalo, Daniel. This was such an awesome conversation. I feel like you were coaching me just by telling your story.
Well, thank you. If it inspires, great. I don't think I've ever really shared it in depth like that. So thank you for allowing me to share my story. Super, super cool. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And it's awesome to see how things have come full circle since we did know each other when we were like 3, 4 years old
Yeah, from
until
Panama
now,
days till now.
30 years later. So, mahalo nui. And you can find Coach Mossy. How can we find you?
You can't. Nah, nah, nah. Instagram, the Masifilo. That's my handle. And then for football trainings, I got to get back more active on it. But Island Skills is my football training handle. If you got youth and Keiki, should be running some clinics coming up soon. And yeah, you can find me somewhere on the Big Island.
All right. Mahalo, everyone, for listening in, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Aloha.
Mahalo, mahalo. Thank you.